Key witness in impeachment inquiry asks federal court to rule over testifying. The move raises new questions about whether President Trump's nearest associates will have the option to collaborate with the request. Washington, a key observer in the arraignment examination, documented a claim Friday requesting that a government judge rule on whether he can affirm, a move that raises new questions about whether President Trump's nearest assistants, similar to the previous national security guide, John R. Bolton, will have the option to participate with the request. House Democrats had subpoenaed the observer, Charles M. Kupperman, who filled in as Mr. Trump's appointee national security consultant, to affirm on Monday. Be that as it may, with an end goal to stop Mr. Kupperman from doing as such, the White House said on Friday that the president had conjured protected insusceptibility, leaving Mr. Kupperman dubious about what to do. Offended party clearly can't fulfill the contending requests of both the authoritative and official branches, and he knows about no controlling legal power completely building up which branch's direction ought to win, the suit said. The ramifications of the suit, documented in government court in Washington, reach out past Mr. Kupperman. His legal counselor, Charles J. Cooper, additionally speaks to Mr. Bolton and is probably going to address congressional solicitations for his declaration along these lines. House Democrats have had discourses with Mr. Cooper as of late about Mr. Bolton affirming yet have not subpoenaed him. Democrats accept that Mr. Kupperman and Mr. Bolton could be huge observers for their examination. Not at all like a few of the organization authorities who have just affirmed, they were both close counselors of Mr. Trump, managed him on Ukraine strategy and could affirm about what Mr. Trump said away from public scrutiny. Mr. Trump and the White House have assaulted a considerable lot of the profession state office authorities who have showed up before specialists on Legislative Hall slope, calling them selected civil servants. Yet Mr. Kupperman and Mr. Bolton, long-lasting Republicans, worked straightforwardly for Mr. Trump. Mr. Bolton, specifically, is viewed as conceivably having more noteworthy influence with Republicans and independents due to his hawkish perspectives, which he passed on normally on Fox News before joining the organization. House Democrats are examining whether Mr. Trump retained guide from Ukraine to constrain the nation's leader to direct examinations that could help him politically. After Mr. Bolton surrendered on September 10, Mr. Kupperman took over as the acting National Security Counsel. The following day, Mr. Trump discharged the $391 million in help that he had retained. Established invulnerability is basically official benefit on steroids. Mr. Kupperman said in the claim that Mr. Trump's White House counsel, Pat A. Cipollone, had requested him not to agree to the subpoena. The president's lawful group obviously gave a similar guidance it had given other previous top White House assistants, similar to Mr. Cipollone's antecedent, Donald F. McGahn II, who had been approached to affirm under the watchful eye of administrators in the spring. They are totally safe from being compelled to vouch for Congress about their official obligations, which means they don't need to appear. The president, be that as it may, acting through the White House counsel, has stated that offended party, as a nearby close-to-home consultant to the president, is resistant from congressional procedure, and has taught offended party not to show up and affirm in light of the House's subpoena, the claim said. Organizations of the two gatherings have taken that position. Stephen A. Engel, the Trump delegated leader of the Equity Division's Office of Lawful Advice, attested in a 15-page legitimate conclusion the previous summer that Congress may not intrinsically urge the president's senior consultants to affirm about their official obligations. Democrats have depicted that legitimate hypothesis as outrageous and a demonstration of deterrent by the Trump White House. They note that in 2008, a government area court judge, John D. Bates, decided that President George W. Shrubb's previous White House counsel, Harriet Miers, reserved no option to avoid a meeting for which she had been subpoenaed. Judge Bates, a Bramble deputy, said she needed to appear despite the fact that she may at present won't respond to explicit inquiries dependent on a case of official benefit. The official branch didn't request the Miers administering, and in light of the fact that no interests court said something, Judge Bates' feeling doesn't consider a controlling point of reference for different debates raising a similar issue. That left the Obama organization, in a 2014 update, allowed to take the position that Judge Bates had been off base, and Mr. Engel resounded that rationale in his reminder too. Mr. McGahn challenged the subpoena, referring to the White House's directions, and in August, the House Legal Executive Panel recorded a claim looking for a legal decision that the equity division isn't right, and a request requiring Mr. McGahn to affirm. That prosecution isn't yet settled. Mr. Kupperman has all the earmarks of being attempting another course. Rather than challenging his own subpoena and holding back to be sued, as Mr. McGahn did, he is going to court himself, suing both Congress and Mr. Trump for placing him in what he depicted as an unimaginable position, and requesting that a judge settle the lawful issue and guide him. Mr. Kupperman is looked with hostile directions by the authoritative and official parts of the legislature and, in like manner, looks for a definitive judgment from this court concerning whether he is legally obliged to agree to a subpoena gave by the House litigants requesting his declaration as per the place of agent's indictment request, or he is legitimately obliged to keep the affirmation of insusceptibility from congressional procedure made by the President regarding the declaration looked for from offended party, it said. You can read this article at below this video. Thank you for watching this short clip. If you like, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell. Bye for now and wishing you have a great day. See you again soon.